Hi, how's it going? It's another Sunday. It's another Sunday. It's a blue Sunday this weekend. Um, Before we get into the show, the normal stuff. How are you? Hope you're all doing well. You look beautiful. Apart from you, you look weird. Um, we're going to talk about Project Bluebeam tonight. It's me and Dave. Maybe Ollie will be on later on. He said he's going to try to do it, but he's got stuff to do. I don't know. You know what he's like. Won't be good stuff, will it? Be like things you shouldn't do with animals and things like that. I want you to go over to Alien Addict's merch page, buy some merch. We discussed this last week. It's the only way I'm going to stop doing this is if you actually buy some of it, and then I'll do it slightly less. You can also become a channel member. You can join the Patreon. The links to that are in the description. Don't really understand the channel membership thing. That's an Ollie thing, not a Lee thing. I don't really get this whole YouTube shenanigans. So without further ado, David, I for a split second there thought I dumped you off the stream instead of bringing the video in. So I'm fucking happy that you're there. I've just swore. 2 minutes in.
You fuck now.
God. Darn it. It's okay. I dropped so many C-bombs last week, and they didn't seem to mind monetizing that. So if they don't monetize this one, then clearly they don't want us talking about the alien invasions. How have you been?
Good, man. Just got back from vacation.
Good.
It's cold here.
How it's cold there. How hot was it where you were?
Warm.
See, for like any sort of like decent heat here, like it only happens in a sauna. That's it. It's a if you want warm, you sit in a sauna. Everything outside of a sauna is just varying levels of cold.
Well, where I live in the summer, it feels like a sauna. Outside, all the time. Yeah. Except for right now, for some reason, it's cold. It shouldn't be this cold.
No, well, it's been a cold winter for us. Like this has been strange. Strange has been a cold winter considering the old like the fact that fuel and electric and all that sort of stuff seems to cost more. And we've had, I think, the coldest winter I can remember I'd say within the decade. I'll give it that within, because I think we had really bad snow in like 2010. But and that really bad snow to us is like snow that comes and lasts 3 days before it thaws and goes away.
That's us.
Yeah,
we get a dusting, everything shuts down. We're done.
Yeah, no, we do the same thing. We had really weird snow as well. We had like it was like a lot of hail. We had like it was round balls of snow, like tiny snowballs rained upon us, which was weird. I enjoyed that because there was lots of people that didn't understand anything about thermodynamics, and people were like getting snowballs and then putting like conspiracy. Do you know what I'm going to say? I would say the more mental side of conspiracy theorists were getting snowballs, compacting them all together, bringing them inside, and then like throwing them on the fire and go, it doesn't melt. And you're like, no, because the snow inside is keeping the snow on the outside cold. You fucking moron.
It'd be weirder if it did burn.
Yeah.
If it turned the flame blue, you have a problem. You live in Ohio.
So yeah, it's been chilly, but there we are. Blue's cold. Blue beams also may be cold. There's a segue.
Blue beams may be cold. What is a blue beam?
Well, the Project Bluebeam has always been one of my sort of pet like loves when it comes to UFO conspiracies, because I've never really believed in the alien things coming to visit us. But in the 90s there was a a, 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 think he we'll say he was a whistleblower, but it depends whether he whistleblowed truth or not. And he wrote a book called the Blue Beam Project. I think it was called. It's really difficult to buy that book now. It's out of print. It's harder to get than the guy that did the alien autopsies book.
The book that doesn't exist.
Yeah. He wrote a book essentially outlining that at some point there would be a dictatorship that arose, which would be a global dictatorship. And in order to enact this global dictatorship, they would fake an alien invasion using holographic technology. He stuck blue beam to it because the like
The cool names were already taken.
the cool names were already taken, and the technology used to create said holograms would have been like blue lasers. But there's rather than just like some Canadian journalist putting some crazy conspiracy theory out, there was some extra like interest into this. First of all, he was complaining he was being chased and followed by the CIA, American government. His children were taken off him because he homeschooled his children, and his children were taken away. He lived in Canada. His children were taken off him and put into a public school. He took sick, and also no, he didn't take sick. He was arrested, and he was held in a cell overnight. He was released, and the next day he died of a heart attack at the age of 80. At the age of 51.
I mean, that's a lot of stress. He did just get arrested.
It is a lot of stress, but 51's no age to just be dropping of a heart attack. But he didn't look like the most
Fit.
Fit and healthy of people. But the interesting thing is like the steps that he had in his book, and some of the steps were you would see a ramp up in UFO activity, and at the same time, completely unrelated, we would be using HARP-based energy weapons to cause earthquakes and natural disasters.
Mm-hmm.
This uptick in UFO activity and the natural disasters would eventually uncover evidence of, or supposedly uncover evidence of ancient alien visitors, like in a ancient aliens type setting. So we would find the craft that Bob Lazar was talking about. How he reckoned that the craft he was working on were recovered from archaeological digs.
Yeah, it was apparently in the report.
Yeah. So this is one of the things I find Blue Beam interesting now is because we're seeing an uptick in UFO sightings. We're seeing an uptick in the most worrying thing for me is like official government recognition of UFOs. And if there's anything I don't trust the government, it is the government. If they're gonna start telling me aliens are real, I'm gonna stop believing in alien pretty quickly. And we're also seeing the ramp up and the fear when it comes to climate change, which is supposedly causing more natural disasters. It feels like the first stages of what his book was predicting, especially when you add into it the rise of the World Economic Forum. And I think if you don't believe that there's at least an entity out there that would like to see us descend into some sort of totalitarian technocracy, I think it's intellectually dishonest to say that there aren't people out there that want it. You don't have to think that it's a possibility or they have the power to enact it, but they definitely fucking want it because they keep saying they want it.
Yeah, you should always take people like that at their word. At least when they're when they're talking about things that they would like to do to you. Yeah, I mean, they're probably telling you the truth.
So at that point, when you've got the the very real and present danger of some sort of totalitarian global takeover. You have a uptick in UFO sight. Well, not even uptick in UFO sightings. That's the thing. I don't think UFOs are being seen by more people. I think more people are seeing them on television, and more people are seeing people talk about them more on television. It's like, it's not like we're having a UFO flap all of a sudden, like there was supposedly in the 60s.
I kind of think more people are talking about it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You know, like the picture I got from the friend of mine. I guarantee a year ago he wouldn't have sent that to anybody. He would have just deleted it and gone on. You know, so, whatever. And just because everything is, it just makes me think. I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe we're not seeing it more, but I think people are talking about it more. Right or wrong, whatever it is, whatever, right? Yeah.
So then when you've got the UFOs and then you have the increase in seismic activity as well, we're accidentally ticking like some of the big boxes from Sergei's book, and his predictions.
So what comes next?
What comes next is the fake alien invasion.
Then what?
Then we scramble and we give things like people like NATO more power. Unite armies, so we have a one world army to fight off the bad uns.
We're gonna fight something that's allegedly able to travel interstellar.
Well, this is one of the things.
Not gonna go well.
No, but this is one of the things that he spoke about in his book, is that we have been conditioned for decades now that aliens will come here, they will be hostile, and above all odds, humanity will triumph over the threat.
Oh yeah, I think humanity will. We won't capitulate. We'll fight.
But no, but
almost everybody.
Yeah.
Australia and Canada are definitely just going to go along with whatever they're told to do.
Yeah, and the French will protest.
You know, you got to give it to them. Like I there's definitely cause to give the French shit. They don't fight wars. They don't really fight. But when it comes time to change a fucking government, they're leading the front, man.
That tickled me. Captain Rabbit, aliens won't land in ships. They do grassroots activism.
That would be worse, actually. I'd prefer the ships.
Oh, imagine how annoying it would be if aliens like come millions and millions of miles away. They see Antifa and they go, "They're our type of people," and it's the like the little greys that you can see, but they've all got like horrible punk jackets on and blue hair.
Like, tell you what, if they get in the middle of the highway, I'm not stopping. You know what I mean? I got things to do, places to be. So, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this was one of the things that were in Sergei's book, that we have been prepped and primed through media and entertainment, that we know how this goes.
So what was his inevitable outcome in the book?
His inevitable outcome is because the alien threat isn't real, and it's
we realize it and overthrow the masters.
No,
or the wannabe masters.
No. By that time, it's too late, and we have essentially the damage has been done. Because this is the thing. We are. It's not just going to be. It's not going to be. That sounds like it's. I think it's definitely going to happen, which I definitely don't. I think it could happen, and I think my doubt. The thing is, I have such little doubt left. Such little doubt that it doesn't matter what's thrown at me now. I just go, yeah, probably next week.
It's possible. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not arguing anymore. Like I've seen what people will do. Like over the last 2 years, all my fucking surprise has disappeared. But yeah, we're not just talking a light show. And this also got me thinking of, because you're talking about direct energy, like direct energy weapons, which is what you would use in this situation to cause the devastation that an intergalactic war would, or sorry, interspecies war would have to come with. And then I
Would
thought,
they? See, that's the
I,
thing, is I think that's what we expect. But I mean, truly, like an intergalactic species doesn't need directed energy weapons. What
yeah,
they
you're
they
right.
have gravitational control. You just grab an asteroid,
Yeah, you're right.
and let it do asteroid things.
But we're not dealing with real things here, are we? We're dealing with something that humans are cooking up in order to fool people. So
Yep.
so you would have a very, I think it would be a very Independence Day looking scenario that would be presented. So what have we had? We have had over the last couple of years a test on the supply chain to see how that bears up in amongst total
Chaos.
fuckery. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have had a stress test on humanity to see exactly what we will do when asked to do it, in the face of common sense to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
Then the other thing I started thinking about, what the other things that could have been put in place if I was going to do something like this. You would have to individually test certain things. So we if you're going to go down the weather manipulation thing, you could definitely see some of the things that some of the weird weather storms that have gone on, where you could say seemed to come out of nowhere. It was awfully strong. You could see where that would be a test. And then I thought about the California wildfires as well. And especially, when you see some of that strange stuff where there will be like a whole block of houses gone, and then like a couple of trees completely fine in the middle between burnt houses. There was some really strange stuff with that.
Yeah, car engines slagged into molten metal.
Yeah. So if you were going to test a direct energy weapon, I would imagine it would probably look something like that. And I think I can't think of anything else apart from the actual doing of the holograms. That would be the next thing. How would you is there anything that you could think of which would suggest that we've already tested them?
I don't know. The agency doesn't let me talk on things that are real.
Well, I mean, just for the sake of this show being entertaining and thought games, let's pretend that we've been planning this for an awful long time.
Well, you would see a lot of things in Central and South America, as somebody always sees Jesus or Mary in a cloud, right? And I think a few years ago there were like cities being projected over China. People couldn't tell if it was fake or not, or
that was reported on like mainstream news as well in China as well. Yeah. That was really weird. The floating city. And one of the weird things there was it was one of the few things that actually gets out of China for everywhere else to look at.
Yeah.
But the other one thing I thought was, depending on how long you were working on this stuff and when you were like beta testing it, I've always found it very strange that there isn't for me personally, even though if I close my eyes, I can see that one video of it, which is like the famous video of the Phoenix Lights.
Oh yeah.
I've always felt that there isn't enough footage of the Phoenix Lights. Where's everyone else? Where's all the amateurs?
I mean, back then though, like video cameras weren't common. They were, shoulder-mounted rocket launchers.
I think they were pretty common though.
Like how common? How common are they to people to get it quickly? Throw a VHS, clean one in there, hit that record, bring in the focus.
It's over a city.
It wasn't a handy cam time.
But it's over
people
a city.
People don't look up over cities, man.
Time. It was a long time.
I know that there's a lot of good reports about those lights and the object itself moving, like through the reservations and things like that. It would be an interesting test. Like that would be one way to do it. The other thing is maybe say devil's advocate say that this is the plan, right? how much of it do they really need? You don't really have to put it on a show in front of people. You just have to put it on TV.
Mm.
And people will believe.
Maybe.
You don't need a real eyewitness that this was over the ocean, captured by military footage.
What do you think the chances are? What do you think the chances are that there is? Because I remember when I was watching Ollie's show from Friday yesterday, and Stu pointed out that he felt that this was building towards something.
I like Stu.
Yeah, I like Stu as well. See, I don't necessarily agree with him where he says he thinks there's maybe something's coming that they can't hide. I don't want to hide anymore. I don't believe our power players care enough about humanity to want to prepare us for something. In fact, if there is
no, they wouldn't.
No, if they could keep us in the dark long enough so they could get extra stuff in the bunkers, so that they can just leave the rest of the world to go to like hell in a handbasket.
Yeah, that they would do.
Yeah, I don't believe they're going to prep us for anything.
So what was it? The movie 2012, right, with John Cusack,
yes.
Where all the powerful people in the world knew this event was coming. So what did they do? They didn't build arcs all around the world. They built them in China just for themselves.
Yeah,
and they squirreled away money. They stole money. They stole art. They falsified all these things. That's exactly what they would do. I mean, that the continuity of government in the United States, I'm sure, is the same, and not the same, but similar in all other Western countries. Is really just to save the guy at the top. Well, we have to keep government in line so you can do what? You're all hiding in a bunker underground. Well, that way we can come up and bring back order. Sounds like you're just trying to save your own ass.
It does.
100% you're trying to say, just be honest about it. Yeah, I'm going to take all the taxpayer money that you give me, and instead of taking care of you, I'm going to make sure I can survive anything. I don't care what happens to you as long as I make it. Like what is it, the Graham Hancock and everything, the people in the robes, they were the douchebags in the bunkers who survived and then came out like, oh, we're going to help everyone rebuild. Nah, screw it. We're done. Let's leave.
I mean, that's one thing we can be safe on, though. Like, at least there hasn't been some sort of concerted effort to transfer massive sums of wealth to the already rich. At least we know that's not happening.
See, the hilarious thing is, it's not so much just the movement of money to wealth; it's the movement of money within government black ops programs, like the trillions of dollars that have gone missing from the Pentagon, the DoD department, and like various other agencies. And they're like, hey, where'd all that money go? Oh, I don't know. Oh man, that building, the building in the Pentagon where we kept all those records. Yeah, where we were doing that audit about the missing money. Yeah. Plane hit it. Sorry, what? Yeah, and it was all hard files, no digital backups. Yeah, man, it all went up.
No, but it's okay, because there was another building. There was a building in New York where we had that stuff backed up as well. We had loads of information about it, and we know a plane didn't hit that one. That one just collapsed.
Gas fire destroyed the whole building. Fell at the speed of gravity. Why? There was a fire inside. How long did that fire burn? 45 minutes. It's a hell of a fire. Not really. Couldn't even see smoke. It's weird.
So
happens all the dude. It's science.
What a series!
Don't question science, Lee. You're going to show you're a racist right now. Okay. It's fucking hilarious. People are like, yeah, that totally makes sense. Does it?
Does it? Wow.
Alrighty then.
See, that's the thing. I think this to myself sometimes. I don't consider myself a particularly smart person, but there's so many stupid people around. How am I not much richer than I am?
Because intelligence doesn't necessarily mean you make money. It's a certain desensitized to people. Like, you don't care.
If I was only slightly more of a psychopath.
Yeah. CEOs.
But yeah, no, I do agree with Stuart though that this feels like there is a slow build towards something like. I think I said in maybe the last show we did. I feel like this movie's going to have an end. I'm not convinced it's a good end, but I feel it's going to have an end.
Kind of like the feeling an altar boy gets when he's getting a little too much attention.
I hope I get a slightly different end. But yes.
I don't feel like this is going to end well. Yeah, man. It. I don't know. As far as everything that's going on, like the banking, like there's so many things. There's so much bullshit going on.
It's hard to work out what the distraction is from what.
I got to be honest. I don't think the banking thing's a distraction from anything. I think that's a contagion that's spreading like wildfire, and people don't actually understand how bad it is, and that there's at least $20 trillion in derivatives trading that's floating, probably more like 100 to 500 trillion. That's never been accounted for. It's off the books and it's never been realized.
On the bright side, though, I have like not like a life destroying
silver coin,
but I've got like a small amount of maybe credit card debt. That'll go. I mean,
yeah, that's something to look for. You know what, Lee? That's the silver lining, buddy. Yeah, you found it, man. Hey, we gave you lemons. By God, you made lemonade. Entire economic world as we understand it, involving trade, commerce, logistics.
Yeah,
it's gonna end. Hey, I don't have to pay back that grand I owe.
but that Barclay card, card is gone.
The hilarious thing is, it's actually not.
Oh,
yeah, that'll be the one thing. Yeah, but I don't know, man. I, as far as distractions in the blue beam seems, I mean, I agree with you. To these days, almost nothing is impossible. The only thing I think would be impossible is me becoming a vegan. Like, that's not going to happen.
What about that's hilarious, isn't it? Is the fact that there's this big push towards towards being vegan, but even the people that are vegan are still like cheering along the idea of eating crickets. Crickets are still motherfucking animals, but they're still animals, people.
They're not cute ones, though. I like to eat the cute ones. They taste better.
Well, yeah, well, I mean, preferably if they're looking me in the eyes. But yeah, I think the banking thing's crazy. I don't believe the UFO thing is a big enough distraction to distract away from things.
I don't think it is either, and I think they at some point they have to realize that, like, Project Bluebeam's great, okay. The United States government, through various means and ways, has admitted that basically Nazis, real Nazis, not the ones we just throw that shit around, but real ones, were behind the death and assassination of a sitting U.S. president. And everyone's like, oh, all right, okay. Oh, there's unidentified objects off the coast. The military doesn't know what they are. They can't keep up with them. They invade our airspace, and turns out they've hurt people. Well, that's something. Okay.
I think because you're obviously talking about the Kennedy thing out there, aren't you? Yeah. Explain that for people that don't know what it is, because I heard about it and stuff like that, but that has been so well swept under the carpet
because nobody cares. It's not even swept; just nobody cared.
No, but I think you're right, but it's in the same way as nobody cared because it was like maybe shared on a couple of social media sites. People would have cared if that had been like primetime CNN news. If a newsreader would have come on and said, "Today we find out that blah blah blah, CIA, Kennedy, off you go." I
mean, it was picked up and carried. So, documents were released that showed the CIA involvement in the assassination of Kennedy. Right. The interesting thing is, so the time frame of which the death of Kennedy, right? So you have to move back just after World War II. Project Paperclip, the United States takes 1,600 Nazis, high-ranking Nazis, bring them into the U.S. They're not charged with anything. They're just folded into our government. 600 of which are scientists. That's the only ones anyone talks about. All right. And I live near one of the labs. A bunch of those guys are relocated to. What no one talks about is 1/3 1,000 of them were in the intelligence community. So,
That's a
okay,
lot.
yeah, let's move forward. I don't know, 15-ish year, or whatever, 10 years, 15 years.
How many? What year was that?
I don't know, man. I'm tired. That's why I keep yawning.
I know, only because it
So
would have been interesting to know
was it
how many people
64?
will. How 64? Well,
Was it?
let's just say 60s. Let's just
Okay, so the
say
60s. Yeah.
yeah.
So 45, so 15. So they would have been in a 20 year. You would have got a 30. They would have been in their 50s. The
No,
younger
no.
guys would have been in their 50s, the Nazis at that time.
I'm
So
just
they would have
wondering.
been in power, right, for the intelligence communities. And that was before the CIA became the CIA, under the guidance of these new intelligence analysts and assets that we had gained 1,000 of. The modern CIA came into shape. Not only that, there were some regulations that were written up that they got Congress to pass that basically gave them black budgets and very little oversight. So we're going to put Congress over them, but these are top secret, and we got to do this, and this is certain classification, and so there's just very little to no oversight, depending on the project or the plan or how it's done or the money that goes. It gave them a black budget and gave them the ability to operate. And shortly thereafter, I think it was like a decade, they started using private contractors. That was the rise. It definitely into the 70s, private contractors rose. And now today, there's CIA officers, sure. There's CIA analysts, absolutely. Same thing for the various other. There's a lot of different intelligence organizations, but the ones who really carry the weight are private companies of which no one's ever heard of, like Booz Allen Hamilton. No one knows. That sounds like a law firm. Well, I'm pretty sure they have lawyers, but they do a lot of other stuff too. And that's something I've brought up for like the case of UFOs and whatnot. Like if anyone knows, it's the people there, not at the government.
Yeah, no, I was just trying to look then to see if I could find some numbers like really quickly. But obviously, I mean, you're dealing with intelligence, so it's not going to be the easiest thing to find out. But if you're saying like 1,000 of those people were pushed,
No, it was
pushed into
1,000. Yeah,
were pushed into a U.S. intelligence, it would be interesting to know how many people like made up U.S. intelligence at that point.
Oh, I actually knew this.
Do you know what I mean?
I believe they there's like 2,000. They added 1,000. They added a third or a quarter. I believe it was more close to a third. Like they grew by a third, of which were Nazis. Like not just like, oh well, he was a file clerk and we needed a file. No, he was a high SS ranking interrogator who's now doing all our overseas interrogation for like that's who it is. And now he's station chief. Now station chief is senior like now he's a man of power.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It's wild.
Maybe not our best move, but everybody makes mistakes. Can't make an omelet, right? Gotta break a few eggs.
Can't make an omelet without employing Nazis.
They're efficient people, though. Got to give them that. They're efficient people.
Well, I'd have said between like 2,000 and 3,000 people. Like if I had to throw a guess at it, and that's a big number, because especially when you, I don't want to say like all Nazis thought the same way, but it did seem to be a highly indoctrinated system. So I feel if you were important enough to be taken and used by another nation, you would have had to be high ranking. You would have had to have been useful, essentially. I think that system is something that if you didn't buy into it 100%, I don't think the promotion. I don't think the promotions would have come your way. Whereas if you get a democracy like we live in, then you have people with different religions, different backgrounds, different football teams. There's like that rich tapestry that makes people out of the same book are all completely different at the same time. So that's already fragmented. Like so you fragment it with religion anyway. So then if you take 1,000 people into a like 2,500, 2,000 strong entity, and those 1,000 are all pretty hard edge lined in the way with things in common, they're really going to get things done.
They're going to get things done. They're going to rise to the top. They're efficient.
I mean, it's like I know there's you get lots of the or conspiracies about Freemasons and stuff like that. I think I'm sure there are high-ranking Freemasons which are probably part of other secret societies that actually do control things. But the thing is, when you do get secret societies like the Freemasons, even if it's just on like a local politics, like local government, local business, they're effective because where everybody else is trying to look after themselves and they're like whoever's in their own little bubble, those guys are looking after each other and they're moving in a singular direction.
Yeah, and there's some trust that goes along with that. But again, like we talk about governments. I think it's bigger than governments. Like who in the world can't say that the president of the United States right now is not a puppet, right?
That's I mean,
yeah.
like
So
one of your greatest thinkers you're talking about.
He's the most voted for man in the history of the U.S. election system.
Yeah, most beloved U.S. president.
He was really carrying Barack there for those 8 years. He was lucky. Damn lucky to have him. So, like, who does he answer to? Who has that kind of pull and power that everyone's going to look and no one's going to talk about it, right? Like this is some kind of secret that no one wants to talk about. I still think a lot of this harkens back to private entities. Like Bill and Hillary. How do they have their power and authority, right? You got the Clinton kill list. You have all these other things, these nefarious things. People are like, how are they tied into that?
Yeah.
Well, Arkansas had the landing strips for CIA drug planes to come and go so they could finance personal wars. At that time, Bill Clinton was the governor. Like he was tied directly into these people. And at that time, he would have picked up. And you got to understand, like the foundations of the CIA that were being laid, not the OSS, not all these things, but the actual CIA that we have today. The cornerstones were laid by like 1,000 Nazis, a quarter of the employees. That isn't a good thing. You know what I mean? Like that's not a good thing. And now we have
Nazi.
What's that?
It is if you're a Nazi.
That's a great thing if you're a Nazi. Yeah. I don't think the party's signing people up anymore. I got to be honest. If they are, they're not doing it in public. They don't have corner rallies anymore. But yeah, I think a lot of it is moved to the private tech industry, or not private tech industry, but like just private intelligence,
private industry. Yeah.
Which is an interesting thing. Like, and I talk about that, and I have talked about that in the past. Like, if you want to look at UFOs, you need to look at that kind of stuff. Radiance Technologies, right? Travis Taylor, he's an optical physicist working for Radiance Technologies. If you look at their main page and go through it, one of the things they offer is intelligence services. What? That's where the real contract money is.
I mean, the interesting thing with like bringing the Nazi like paperclip guys up from like what the title of this episode was Werner von Braun and his supposed like deathbed or like before deathbed chat with who was the lady? I always forget the lady's name.
You remember
who was assistants?
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
The last card being the fake alien threat.
Fake alien threat. Max, of course, he worked with one of the paperclip scientists. One of his first things, like his first gig for NASA.
Before, yeah.
It's interesting. I'm not going to steal any of his thunder because I don't know what stories he would want told or not told, and that would be up to him. But it's interesting. Especially since Max isn't Aryan.
No,
no, he's not.
Far from it.
But the guy liked Max and respected him because Max is brilliant, truly brilliant. Just being friends with him has given me connections to things that, shit, is way outside of anything I would ever be associated or connected to or get to see.
Maybe he just identifies as Aryan.
Max.
That's enough.
I don't think he does. He's great though. And brilliant. I mean, he's truly brilliant. There's a few people in the world I would say are brilliant, but he is definitely one of them.
Is Ollie one of them?
Oh no. Yeah, neither you or I. We're just jabbing away like parrots online for no apparent reason. There's no purpose in this. All right. Masturbation has a better payoff than what we're doing.
He says I'm not doing it right now.
Well, you probably are. It's that dead look. I'm used to those pictures.
Yeah, I just find that it's so weird the way things are moving forward, and I'm not gonna lie. Like, this is the thing I thought was really really funny from Ollie's show, where Ollie turned around and he said, like, I think it'd be great. I really hope it happens. No, you don't.
No.
You really don't. You want all of this to be wrong, like so unbelievably wrong.
Yeah, it doesn't bode well, man. You can't. Like, it seems like it would be a waste though, because they would have to know a large scale, like, quote unquote alien invasion, or however they would. People either wouldn't believe it or wouldn't care. No one cares until it affects them directly. The only reason COVID hysteria got took up is because they canceled, professional sports.
I think you take a city out.
Which city?
I think you
because there's some cities we're going to miss a lot less than others. Like if you weaponized and blew up Detroit, you couldn't tell.
I think it's interesting. I mean? If I was a conspiracy theorist, I obviously not. I'd find it very interesting that if you take someone like New York, yeah, still like such it holds such retail in people's mind. The city of New York, even though it's like reportedly like a shadow of its former self, and it's not quite as useful as it used to be. It's probably what you would do to a city if you planned on using it in that way. You would take California, you would take New York, you would make it so if you used them as a prop for something like this, and who knows, it might it's probably nonsense.
Large scale action without small scale action doesn't make sense. Blowing up whatever, like so the aliens invade and they vaporize a city, but there's no ground action, there's no small scale action. What is the purpose other than to get attention, to get us to capitulate? Because it's not, I don't know that would happen. You're not going to get everyone. Like, if you looked at us as a species at all, we're not, 5 people in a room have 5 different opinions.
No, but this is the thing, you don't need to, as long as you can get the majority on side.
Mm-hmm.
If you were looking at if you were looking at ways to prepare people,
yeah,
and I look at this purely in a Western sense, and even though I'm looking at it in a Western sense, it probably works for the largest population sense. It probably works for most countries, to be perfectly honest. We are used to seeing war happen on television.
Yes.
So all you need to do is it's the 1984 thing, isn't it? We've always been at war.
Yeah.
With such and such, that's the because they're told it's happening. Those wars aren't happening in 1984. Those wars between the countries aren't happening, and then you have some false flag terrorist events that will happen in the was Oceania was where he was. I think you would get some false flag, terrorist events, like a bomb went off. I remember reading that. I can't remember the book now. It was so long since I read it. That's all you'd really need. And if you want to talk about how we would, if we were testing the individual elements to fake something like this. So we've already decided we've tested the energy weapons. We've tested the weather manipulation. We've tested humanity. We've tested supply chains. You could argue that we're testing the fake war right
in
now
Ukraine
as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is something going on there.
There is something going. Well, this is the thing, and this is one of the things I would say. Obviously the conspiracy that shall not be named. This is one of the things that always confused me with the the shooting of the Sandy variety that got AJ in trouble.
Oh yeah.
I was always confused why people decided nobody, even if that was a conspiracy, why wouldn't these cunts kill people?
No,
in
would.
Every other situation, it makes no sense. It's like it's like saying nobody. I don't know. I need to get rid of that comment.
What comment?
So somebody just stuck it in the chat. It's probably not a good thing to stick in the chat.
Nah, yeah, I'll flag that. Yeah.
I can't actually get rid of it, unfortunately. Please don't do that. In fact, Mr. Squatch, if you'd get rid of that, that'd be awfully handy for Ollie's algorithm. They've never had a problem with killing people. So I don't see why you think that
it'd start now.
Yeah, they'd start now. So yeah, there's obviously something going on there. That's not the theater. I wouldn't say that the conflict part isn't the theater. The theater is, don't worry, Mr. Squatch, it's fine. I get it. That's not the theater. The theater is sending world leaders out there. The theater is Sean Penn going out there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
No That's apparent reason. Yeah. Who else? The President. Weird.
Yeah.
No, well, everybody. World leader. Yeah.
Everybody. Yeah. That's how dangerous it is. But see, this is my problem with it. Is look, again, it comes to the small scale. What are they going to be fighting? Like the technology will have to be totally different, or it's going to be the worst CGI ever. You know what I mean? Like, it takes a while to put that kind of movie together. And you're going to have regular updates. You're going to have damage. And the thing is, you're not going to have an isolated front if you have a galactic or interdimensional threat or however they pose it.
What if they'd already tested the holographic technology? I don't know, sometime, like, say, in New York, September-ish.
Oh, maybe. But still, like, so it's not just that. Like, you would expect, and even they would expect that the weaponry that they would be using would again be alien, right? The technology, the damage would be alien. Like you're talking, you would have to have an entirely different technological advancement setting aside very Greer-like breakaway civilization waiting to pose
to have this.
Yeah, to have this. You would have to have that to have this.
How?
Because you have to have small conflicts. Large scale conflicts are not enough, because if it's always large and they're just bombarding us and there's nothing we can do, that's hopelessness. You don't get anything from that. You're not going to rally power from the people from that. You're going to have a win. You're going to have a small scale, and that's, small scale engagement. If they're here destroying things and it's not an extermination, then there's purpose. And again, small conflict. If it's an extermination, you can't do nothing about that.
I think you are underplaying the
Stupidness of people.
stupidness of people, and how you could manipulate people with fear.
Maybe.
We literally just gone through it where everybody was terrified of something that wasn't killing their friends.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
That's
there
true,
was,
just from what they've seen.
yeah, and it's,
You think they'd fall for it again?
yes,
I mean, I know Canada and Australia will.
already have done. They're already living under the alien overlords. We just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
I believe they got, because they bought in early. It's like it's like a DLC. They get the alien update like 6 months before we do.
Maybe.
But
Maybe.
yeah, if there's one thing, I've learned is that I I have very little faith in large groups of people anymore.
Yeah. I never had any.
Yeah. Well, I kind of thought like I've seen it like lately, or like on a politics level. The In the UK, people seem to be like, excuse me, falling back into this the whole left right thing, and I did beforehand. I was, I'll be perfectly honest. I was totally happy that Boris Johnson got voted in over Jeremy Corbyn.
Mhm.
I thought Corbyn was going to be a disaster. I don't think it would have mattered anymore. I don't think it matters who wins the next election. I don't think it matters who will win the one after that. I think it probably matters. I think politics probably matters more for you, because there are you have politicians on a local level which matter more
Yes.
than our MPs do. You know, that's the
Yes.
um. But I mean, I don't know how much I can say this on
Just don't
on
talk about the
YouTube.
wizard or the dragon, you know,
Yeah, well, there was
or the
what
bishops.
there is one see, this is it. This is what I get. I Captain Rabbit, Corbyn wouldn't allow energy companies to screw us. I don't believe Corbyn would have A, had the power, or B, had the integrity to stop any of it or to change any of it. He was the perfect person to have in, because he was the only person that could run against Boris Johnson. I'm Luke so fucking stupid that he would make Boris Johnson win in a landslide. Only Jeremy Corbyn could lose the left from the left wing. It's the whole thing. It was just nothing that's happened over the last 2 years doesn't fall in line with what happened 2 steps before it. And it's this whole thing. I don't believe there's a savior anymore. I believe
Yeah.
I believe the term's black pilled, isn't it? When you're when you when you believe all hope is gone.
Like an altar boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's I don't know. Like, you know, back when I had my own podcast, the thing that got us banned is we encourage people to get involved in local elections, not to care about the large scale federal like that. The thumbs on the scale, you can't do anything. But you can't start throwing county elections. You can't start throwing city elections, especially small cities, small counties, you know, lesser populations, rural areas. You can't, you know, fudge that. People aren't going to stand. You can get away with major metropolitan areas. You shouldn't be there in the first place. You know, there's a lot of these places like Miami, Florida, right? They went to a state of emergency because of murders and shootings, and they went to a lockdown with a state of emergency declared. That's insane. That's insane. There was a town in Arkansas that it did something similar. His small town politician who got drunk on power and was like, "Well, I'm going to declare you don't get to do that, especially in that state." She was removed. You can do that on a small scale. You know, like get involved with your city, get on boards, get active. know who your sheriffs are, know who your mayors are, know who your city councilmen are. If you don't like them, run against them. That message right there is what got my podcast doomed. And one fateful afternoon. Yeah.
It's
But
interesting. The whole the whole system that's like controlling the flow of information and open discourse, and even this what we're doing here, you're forced to self-censor, or you just don't get to speak anymore, and that window is going to continue to close and continue to close.
Yes.
In a way, I wonder if that's what the UFO thing, or like part of it is, because it's what it does is it gives a conspiratorial outlet that's within like the new Overton window.
Yeah.
So it's okay. You stay between these lines.
Everything's okay.
Yeah, you can indulge in the conspiracies. And it's I find it weird that if you're dealing with extraterrestrial technology that the government may or may not have come into contact with, which may or may not be
killing people,
either killing people or engineering. If they've got craft that they've managed to back engineer certain aspects of it, you're talking about anti-gravitic technology. It's essentially the type of weapons that would turn people into gods.
Yes.
How come that's allowed on YouTube, but you can't, like, and I'm not a flat earther, but you can't talk about flat Earth? No, but this is the crazy
You say
thing.
You're not a flat earther so much. I'm starting to think.
No, but it's just because it's the perfect it's the perfect conspiracy theory to bring up with this, because it's batshit, but it's it's.
I hold there's some question that comes about because of flat Earth they don't want us asking.
Yeah.
There's something about flat Earth that it's like when a trial attorney goes through a line of questioning, right? You never ask a question you don't know the answer to, and you stay away from certain lines of questioning, even though it could help your case. It can also open a door or trigger something in, the prosecutor's mind to be like, "Ooh, we should go down that path." You don't do that. You steer towards the safe. It makes me think that there's a line of questioning there that they do not want touched. It's not that it's true or anything like that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know what I would dismiss anymore. But what I do know is that they don't want you talking about it.
Well, see, this is it's quite a good comment here from Mr. DB Cooper.
Coop.
In ufology, wouldn't it be just as crazy a phenomena if everyone was lying? I don't think everyone has to lie. I think there's some outliers, like obviously the if you look at like the third phases and stuff like that, they are money making channels that are I know. Look, I respect the hustle. Like, if you
game means game, good for them.
Yeah, it's what you've done is your business model. Your business model is selling people videos of things that nobody has took a good video of. That's a difficult business model to keep up. There is no evidence of extraterrestrial craft, as in like UFOs with aliens inside them. Absolutely no decent evidence. Yeah, they have made a lucrative business out of shoveling it. That's fairly fucking genius.
It's a hustle, man. Yeah, it freaking work.
So, but that's the thing. I don't think people have to necessarily be lying, or at least purposefully lying. I think some people want it to some people want it to be so real that they're willing to play mental gymnastics to stop themselves, then to stop themselves not believing it. Then you've also got people on the other side of it which see the grift, and that's 9 times out of 10. And I know this from trying to get like guests and stuff on podcasts in the past. No fucker wants to talk to you unless they've got a book to bring out. That's the thing. Like, if the book's around the corner, like generally, they're there. The only people which are quite happy to come out and talk when they haven't got anything to punt is the usual people like us, or and then up the chain us, and essentially you're even those people. Like if we were to get a, I don't know, there's a couple of people I'm trying to get on the channel at the minute anyway, but it doesn't matter who they are. And all respect to them, like one of them especially, I listen to on a weekly basis. But if they come on this channel, they've got slightly bigger channels, but also they're still opening themselves up to a new audience, which is hopefully going to bolster their channel. So everybody is peddling something to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But on the alien thing, it does seem the grift is strong in the UFO community.
It's something, man.
Is it worse
Paranormal.
than other? Is it worse than everything else?
New.
Is it
No,
might it be worse than
paranormal
ghosts?
communities. Paranormal communities equally bad.
Yeah.
Paranormal community is worse because they have ridiculous technology, like they have modified doorbell sensors and this and that. And we're working on, like, what Max is doing it for me, is working on an idea behind a piece of technology that we would like to use in paranormal research that, by all means, I think we're going to get a patent on. I think it's patentable. I think there's an argument to be made for it. So that slows down everything. But yeah, there's a lot of hustle, man. Just go to anything. Go to any ghost website. They're selling you tons of this mass-produced Chinese-made stuff that they're marking up to incredible amounts. One of the things we did when we were looking at if we were going to carry different product lines is we ordered stuff from a bunch of the different, like, top tier people who sell, right? And through smarter people than me, I didn't have anything to do with it. I'm not that smart. They look up the codes on the circuit boards and the whatever, and they can find the manufacturer in China that made them, get the actual retail price. Like, oh, this was a proximity doorbell sensor that you can wholesale buy for $2.35 that they put in a different container and charge you $85 for. And it doesn't work, by the way. It doesn't work. It's twitchy as all get out. If you get a text message, it's going to go off. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I found talking to people in the paranormal is much like the UFO. People I've believed that have had, I don't know that I would call it a UFO encounter, but like an unknown encounter, right? That I've been lucky enough to talk to at different events. They don't want to be on camera. They want answers. They want to know that they're not crazy, because they feel crazy. And then you go into the paranormal world and you find people who live in a house and they're like, I can't sleep in this house, or, every now and then things move, or we've seen something, or I was like, well, hey, would you like to come to? No, absolutely not. I'm not. And I live in a haunted neighborhood, man. I live in old classic. What did you say my neighborhood looks like? It looks like a
Stranger Things.
80s teen action
Yeah,
adventure.
yeah.
Yeah, which is actually an amazing description. It's a bunch of old Victorian homes on a hill, in a valley. But yeah, these people who are credible people, I couldn't get them to come on and talk about anything. Like, that's the one reason we haven't pushed, is a lot of the people for the haunted places. And so you're pushed to go through more well-known people, and they all just kind of seem full of shit, and they're all after $1, or they want to get paid, or, hey, why don't you come, and as long as I can talk about this tour I'm hosting, I'm selling tickets for. And it's like, all right, I mean, maybe I'll think about it, just kind of walk on. And then when those people do have some kind of experience, it usually will scare the shit out of them. Yeah, so I don't know. That's the biggest reason we haven't pushed our channel. We've been thinking about, we have footage, thought about doing a documentary, thought about doing a lot of things, but at the same time, I kind of don't want to end up like those people. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's a minefield, isn't it?
It's a
The whole
minefield.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think to myself, when it comes to conspiracies, like
Yeah.
there is something there is something different to the way conspiracy theorists mind works. I don't want to say it's analytical. It's not, but there is a distrust of social norms. I think is probably up there, and I think that's quite a it's quite a handy thing to have if you have large entities and large groups of people which probably don't want the best for things. Uh, so that's what I kind of like what's it called, the bullshit theory. The bullshit theory is that all conspiracy theories are bullshit. That's the conspiracy theory, is that all conspiracy theories are bullshit, and they are purposely scattergunned to make busy work for people that would give a otherwise otherwise give people that don't want issues. Just quickly here. Mark popped up in the comments before saying that he has 4 pictures of daylight UFOs. I told him to upload them to something and drop a link in or stuff for something on the show. I mean, let's be perfectly fucking honest here. There is absolutely no fucking chance of me dropping my phone number into a YouTube comment section. it's probably. I mean,
I feel like you should definitely do it.
I've referred to myself as a conspiracy theorist on more than one occasion just this evening. That making it, I'm not what you would call the most trusting of people when it comes to other people.
What is it? 8675309.
Hot ones, yeah.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, Ollie has just send him to Ollie's email or your email. Should be
I don't
below,
know what
right?
Ollie. I don't know what the bloody Alien Addict email address is. It's a good idea actually. I can find the Alien Addict email address.
Yeah. Send it to one of the emails.
See, Dave, that's why you're here.
We're all in trouble if that's the truth. Yeah, man. I don't know. Talking to people, you always find people like in the paranormal anyway. It's easier to, I think, to get a conversation out of someone. It's harder to get someone to go on record and talk about it because the person that you would want to go on record and talk about it, they have things to lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I had this experience like, hey, I'd love to talk to you more about this. Absolutely not. It's like, hey, I respect that. No problem. I get it. You're a doctor. You don't want your patients thinking you're out of your mind. Is what it is. Is what it is. And the thing is, there's so much of a fringe element on both sides, and these topics attract fringe element, absolutely. That people with solid backgrounds, people who would be reputable, they don't want that association. I understand that as well.
I'm just putting the email address up here.
There it is.
I thought there's a must-see audio one as well. You can take that one.
Yeah. Why aren't you going to give them your? I mean, you got to think, if you gave your phone number, that'd be fun, huh?
No. Right. This is the thing. Like, I don't like people I know phoning me. It's such a dilemma. Like I spend hours on the internet talking. Like hours on the internet talking. I won't spend seconds on the phone speaking to people.
You should have given them the phone number of someone you didn't like. Who's that politician guy on your island you're not a fan of?
Humanity? I don't have all of humanity's phone numbers.
No, who's the politician guy on your island you're not a fan of?
I don't really like any of them.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I know
you give him that phone number.
I don't have his phone
Post
number.
it at the bottom. You can get it. It's a small island.
That would be fucking hilarious.
It'd be nonstop penis pictures. Thousands. Suddenly, Ollie's channel, it explodes just so people can get the number. To send the guy random penis pictures.
All penis all the time.
Penis all the time.
Mark's bringing up one of your I think he's in the area of one of your thoughts when it comes to blood types.
Are pure alien? I don't know if they're pure or anything.
No. But there's something. Is it rhesus negative?
Rh negative means rhesus
Yeah.
negative. Yeah.
Yeah. There's
It's the
definitely.
thing biology doesn't like to talk about.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah, that's I talked to my doctor friends about it, and they're like, well, you could technically get, if it was an emergency, they would give you, blood from someone who would be a positive. And I was like, well, what happens? Like, you get sick. We're going to give you medication. You'll live, but you're going to get sick. You get really sick.
That's going to be a more fucking squirrely time now as well, isn't it? It's when it comes to blood transfusions.
Yeah, man. And full disclosure, I am rhesus negative. So,
I'm HIV positive.
Nice.
What?
Nice. I'm good for you, man. It makes going to your trips to Africa a lot more fun. You don't have to worry about anything. Just dive right in, man. Skin to skin, buddy.
I'd never passed the test before that one.
It's good. Hey, everybody's got to have a thing. Right? By golly, that's yours.
But yeah, so, sorry. Before I got sidetracked again, there.
Did you get a vaccination from the Gates Foundation
before
you passed that test?
It was it was one of the drop ones. Yeah, we're gonna get the channel cancelled. Let's stop.
Yeah, that did it right there. Sorry, Ollie.
I'm so like gentle as well. Ollie's Ollie was so worried with me coming on, thinking that the whole channel would be set in flames like 10 minutes after I've been in. I've been nothing but good. I've watched my P's and Q's and everything
until today.
He's been worse than I have. But yeah, no, it's. I just want. Do you miss it? Like, do you find like when it comes to the conspiracy theories? No,
I've never had it. Why would I miss it?
Do you want it?
Nope. I'm used to failing tests. No problem. I'm an Rh negative. Remember?
I've just derailed myself again. I was just going to try and get the.
You're talking about AIDS.
No, we weren't talking about AIDS.
You were.
Well, yeah, but I didn't mean to. It was like a quick joke. That was all. A throwaway joke about me having a horrendous disease. That's it. No. Oh yeah. Do you miss? Did you like before you got involved with like speaking to me and Ollie and coming on the channel and stuff like that?
Do I miss my anonymity? Yeah.
No. Yeah. But did you like enjoy conspiracy theories like I did?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you miss it?
I mean, they're all fact now, so it's not much of a theory anymore. It's just conspiracy.
That's what I mean. But did you miss like being able to look for stuff on like on a podcast or on YouTube and like switching off and listen to David Icke talk about lizard people?
Never listened to that one.
Or listen to Alex Jones talk about like the
gay
frogs and the New World Order and like thousands of fucking coffins that could house like 5 bodies a coffin, like
those are real.
being bought for. Oh yeah, I know they are. But there was a time in the up until maybe the last 3 years where you could listen to pretty much any of those. It was entertaining. It wasn't scary because it didn't seem possible. But now, like I said, all the doubt is sucked away from me.
So if you take that, and I understand where you're coming from, but if you take a look, and you know a little bit about my life that listeners don't, I always operate as though these things can definitely happen. This isn't a new thing for me. Governments are corrupt. People are corrupt. Intelligent, like they are out to get you. They hate you. You're disposable cattle. That is how your government feels with you. Absolutely. It's okay.
Everyone's
lying to you. Yeah.
Just Just realized Mark's a psychopath.
Mark who?
The guy that Ref thought he had pictures of UFOs. He's
Are they
he's
penises?
no, he's full on Q guy. It would appear.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
No. But he's kind of taking the chat over as well with it, which I find a bit weird. But I'm starting to
He's
think.
sharing his message, man.
Okie doke.
Yeah, they ain't hurting nobody
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
I'm not a Q guy.
I think maybe just a little bit of time out for Mark is probably what he needs. Just give him a rest. Give him a rest.
Now I'm gonna have to go back later and look at the chat. I'm very curious.
He's just needs a minute. That's all. Let everyone else talk to each other for a while.
Nice. No, man. I plan and prepare for inevitable chaos, dude. The film of the world is very thin. The film that is society is thin. People are gradually waking up that everything can just fall apart. Where's this violence? Where are these people? This is new. It's not new. It's new to you. It is not new.
That's fair. Yeah, it's like it's that
the rot
thing,
is getting closer. The rot is getting closer. You can smell it. You can see it.
Everyone thinks they're the first person to discover something. You know, that's the thing. You know, when you suddenly wake up to it, it's like, oh my god, like, have you guys heard Radiohead? And it's like, everyone else going, yeah, everyone's heard Radiohead.
You know, the sad. So like, it's funny you bring this up. So when everything was when COVID was going down and all that jazz, I was following that in 2019, at the end of 2019. You know, hey, is it 420? I think it's 5 something here, or 6. But I'd followed that, and I was probably one of the biggest proponents of isolation and like taking shit seriously. And then 2020 it's going, and then we get more data and people are like, oh well, this is this, and by that point, like here in the US, people were already getting hyped up on it. I was like, oh no, it's a nothing burger, guys, relax. And my friend's like, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're XYZ, why aren't you? I was like, because I looked up more information. It's like, you motherfuckers are medical doctors, you're attorneys, you're engineers. Like, look at the data, man. I can't be the only non-scientist, doctorate level guy here who's not freaking out about this. But it was very interesting to watch. And what I noticed was the reality of their mortality, and that bad things could potentially happen to them, because that was never their world, and it has always been my world. For a myriad of reasons. I think that's what it was. I think most people operate on normalcy bias, that nothing bad will happen to me because nothing bad happened yesterday or the day before. And they don't realize just how thin that ice is that we skate on.
We've made a subconscious bargain with the future that tomorrow will be the same as yesterday.
Yes. Or it was when I don't get, stabbed and raped at the end of the day, I'm like, kind of figured that would happen today. Am I not attractive?
I'm at least stabbable.
I deserve that. I run my mouth a lot, man. Come on.
Yeah, I mean that's what got me with this. I think it was that. It first of all, it was the realization that my future, the future my parents had and envisioned for me, was not set in stone. And then the second phase of that is, not only is it not set in stone, it's not likely, because we've been living through like the most peaceful of times in the history of humanity. It doesn't seem that way, but that's because you didn't see the other stuff. and
people don't see it in other places, dude. Even on vacation, like people who go to Jamaica, venture off the beaten path a little while. You'll find that life is cheap, and it's hard, and it's terrible.
Mhm.
We're lucky in our Western world. We're insulated. We're cushioned. Most of us don't have those concepts. And even here, like in the US, there are plenty of places here that are now no-go zones. And they have been for a while.
Mm.
And it's hilarious. I was talking to somebody about that the other day about Baltimore. And they're like, "Oh, I went to Baltimore, 40 years ago. It was awesome." I was like, "You go to Baltimore today, you stay strapped. Fuck the laws. You stay strapped." And the guy's like, "Oh, it's fine." He got back from the business trip. He's like, "Oh my God." he's like, "What happened?" I was like, "It's time, man. You've been living in this pocket of awesomeness, and the decay is everywhere. Now once you see it everywhere.
I just thought of this up because it tickled me.
Stay out of my mind. Interesting enough, that is what my journal says.
So in that case, does that mean that like the West Project, we'll call it, it's always going to be doomed to fail?
No.
No, I mean the idea of that, bad times create strong men, strong men create good times create weak men.
Yeah, it's an accurate cycle.
Yeah. So that suggests that essentially good times will always end.
Yes.
So
then they're not good. You got to have something to compare it to. It's kind of like snapping out of a dream, or maybe being at a bar and getting a really good buzz on it, and the buzz starts to fade, and you realize the girl isn't that pretty, and the band kind of sucks, and this place is a little dirty. And then once you start to see those things, you can't unsee them.
Yeah.
Right now, it's time to go. Unfortunately, there's nowhere to go, and everyone's kind of snapping out of it together. Some people still got their beer goggles on, and they're like, "Nope, I refuse. I'm staying in this good moment. Everything's fine." People like me never had the beer goggles on. We always saw that it was a dirty, dingy little hole, and you need to be prepared. Why? Because someone just got stabbed and raped in the fucking bathroom. Nah, it wouldn't happen here. It just happened here. That's literally, they just pulled that person out right now. It doesn't sound right.
That was the noise you heard.
Yeah, it doesn't sound right. No, that was the band. There's no band.
So to get before we wrap the show up, do you think that's what all this is? Like, even we came on tonight starting to talk about the blue beam thing.
We have to do something safe to keep all this channel up.
Is all of this a distraction? And like you say, there's so much stuff going on, and obviously you said you're right about the bank thing being fairly terrifying. I don't believe that this stuff is out there to distract from the bank situation, but I think the banks are a symptom of this societal collapse that we seem to be coming towards. So is all like I say, is all this busy work?
I
just to keep people looking the other way while the foundations are completely unpinned.
Yeah, they don't want you to see the black mold and the locusts coming in. They don't want you to see the rot that is civilization and the Western ideology. It's kind of doesn't hold penning anymore because everything's falling apart. Everything's falling apart. And yeah, I think they're trying to keep the bread and circus going as long as they can, except the bread has worms in it, and all the good actors in the circus are gone. They're down to anorexic lions fighting bulimic hyenas.
So in that respect, if we're coming towards the natural conclusion of the comfort we've enjoyed, does that mean people like Klaus are right? Like the Klaus and the World Economic Forum. If what we have is soaked in gasoline and the match is already being like if the match is already in the air about to hit it, from the devastation that's going to come from it, you can't put a fire out with cotton wool.
Yeah, you put it out with an explosion.
You put it out with an explosion. You put it out with boots. So is that the only cure to what's going to happen? The only
Yes.
cure is going to have to be something authoritative and totalitarian, because what's left will be so unmanageable. It will have to be beaten back into civilization.
Oh no, no. In fact, no. The totalitarian regime they want to put in to stop it from happening will be the final. Will be the final death.
You don't think there's
The
there?
restart of chaos in small governments and cities and countries trying to reform, like a balkanization of at least America. That would be great for America. It'll be good. The strife, the struggle, the fight, that will be good. What they want is, I'm sure they see it as a kindness that, if we're in charge, it won't be as bad, and we can stop. No, these things need to happen, and they will happen. The fact that they're trying to stop it is in fact fulfilling it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they're the one ushering it in, and they're thinking, no, it's for the right reasons. Yeah, you got your good intentions, man. There's a one way road right there. Yeah, man. It just is what it is.
There's an interesting comment here. I think you're a good one to take this.
U.S. economy's issues, but look at the Russian economy or Chechny's, and it's an economic war. Who will fall first? So that's a whole show in itself. Yeah, the U.S. economy does have issues. We will be the last one standing because all the currency is flooding here. It's only the reason a lot of these financial entities base here. It's why they move money through here on a massive scale. But we're not immune. And the reality is the market itself is so unpredictable. Like anyone is like, we got a beat on this. You don't have a beat on anything. Enron fell with one question. Someone's like, how do you keep producing profits like this quarter after quarter? That was the end of Enron. It was one reporter asking one question. Like that was it, man. And then Enron led to WorldCom. Like, it's there's a lot of things, like the fact that we've limped along like this as long as we have is phenomenal. And the reality is, if Russia really wanted to stick it to us as well as China did, there's things financially that they could do that they're not going to, because they want the system to prop up as much as anyone else. What they want to do is contain it as much as they can, insulate it as much as they can. Modern monetary theory is basically just ushering in hyperinflation.
Where do you stand with cryptocurrency?
Where do I stand on it? You can't, because it's digital. You can stand on silver or gold, though, as long as you have them in your hand.
Yeah, see, that's the I don't. I'm terrible when it comes to economics. I'm even worse when it comes to crypto. But I know so little about it. But I can't understand if our current monetary system fails, I don't understand how crypto can carry on.
So here's money. If you don't know what money is faith. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's promise.
It's an understanding. Like, it's not even a promise. It's not a promise of anything paid or an exchange. It's faith that I have a thing that you will attribute value to, the same value that I attribute to it, and we can use that as a medium of exchange between individuals, right? Because I don't want your berries and you don't want my carrots. So we have to come up with a medium of exchange, and this is the medium of exchange. It's really what money is. It's just faith. And the more people keep talking about these bank runs, the more people keep talking about instability in the markets, the more people start getting shooken up, the more that faith starts to shake. And when the faith starts to shake, everybody shits their pants, because like JP Morgan has 77% of their books that are basically unrealized losses that they're counting as assets. And at any moment they can be gone. Which, I mean, they're the lender to governments. I mean, the fact that Credit Suisse just went, that's bad. That's 166 years of trust. They're one of the most trusted financial entities out there. I mean, they stamp gold and silver. I have bars, like stamped and from Credit Suisse, But the contagion's big. So if you use it as a mirror and you look at, let's take a look back at like 2007 to 2009 in the falls, right? Lehman Brothers. I mean, a lot of people, Bear Stearns, Lehman, whatever. So look at Lehman. There's 60 billion, I think, or was it? I think it was Lehman that had 60 billion, and that ended with Washington Mutual at, I think it was 200 or 307 billion. I think it was 307 billion losses in Washington Mutual. This volley opened with 209 billion. And we've already dropped Credit Suisse, along with a bunch of other little banks that are in the way. And everybody deals, like all major international financial entities, one way or another touch Credit Suisse. Like they deal with them. They handle business with them. There's Fifth Bank that got 30 billion in deposits to try and shore them up. It's a San Francisco-based tech bank. Wasn't enough. 30 billion was not enough to shore up their accounts. It's incredibly bad. It's so bad. All you can just sit and laugh. Like, oh, well, shit. It's what it is, man. It's what it is. I don't keep any money at places like that. And right now it seems very isolated to the tech sectors, and I think it could make a small route to some of the other places. But I doubt it. I think it's going to clean house in tech. I think it could potentially be very isolated just to the tech, and that's fine. That's needed to happen for a while.
There's a lot of layoffs, hasn't there, this week? Like Facebook.
There needs to be. These people get paid obscene salaries to do nothing. They work one day a week. They can't even tell you what they do.
Yeah.
Some nerdy guy hires some hot chick to be, a diversity inclusion monitor for whatever, and they're paying her $800,000 a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With all these ridiculous benefits, she couldn't tell you what she does.
That's
she has a mass communication degree. Get the hell out of here. It's absurd.
There's a question for you here. I'll bring it up in a second. I will just start.
I have no financial advice, FYI. It's too late for that. It's way too late.
I'll just bring it up now. What's all this mean for the average Joe living week to week, paying a mortgage? I would genuinely, like, I don't own, I rent. I would absolutely hate to be a homeowner right now.
So what does it mean for the average Joe? If you're living week to week, then it means there's no difference. It means expect inflation, expect everything you're buying to cost more, expect the value of your money. So this modern monetary theory, right, it's going to lead to ridiculous inflation. The person that's doing what's happening to these banks is happening because the United States Federal Reserve is continually raising the interest rate. They do not have to do this. They should have stopped this shit a long time ago. And it makes more sense to buy bonds from the U.S. government, and they need that desperately, than it does to put money in a bank, because the bank isn't paying interest on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So where do you think that sitting available cash is going? It's going to go to a bond, because I could put, so just to break it down, I can go ahead and buy a U.S. Treasury or a bond that's going to pay a hell of a return at this point, right? And I'll have, let's call it $1 million asset, right? With that $1 million asset, I can then go to the bank, use that as collateral to borrow another $4 to $5 million that I can turn around and invest. So why wouldn't I do that? Right. And then I can take that and so the bank isn't holding that original amount. And they're used to holding that, because banks, at least in the US, only have to hold 10% of deposits. And during COVID, the restrictions got let up. They didn't have to hold 10%. Right. So if you give a bank $100,000, they can produce $1 million in loans. That's modern banking. Woo! So as far as the average guy, what does it mean to you? You just keep doing what you're doing. Don't the one thing, don't let any of this shit bother you. Don't let it burden you.
Well, there's nothing you can do about
start
it.
A garden, buy a gun.
Yeah.
Get in better shape. I would start doing that. Cut your hair, because if you have to get in a fisticuff with someone, man, fucking getting your hair pulled is a nightmare. It's a hell of a lever, and I'm serious, and it's impossible to get someone trim your beard, cut your hair, get in better shape,
Mm.
buy something to defend yourself or learn how to defend yourself. Get a good dog. And I'm not telling you to do anything I haven't done or do myself. So, yeah. And that's just paycheck to paycheck guy, man. Unfortunately, you're going to suffer the worst. And at the same time, you're not going to suffer the worst.
If you used to being poor, you're not poor, but yeah, if you're used to struggling, you're struggling anyway. You're just going to struggle slightly more, and it means what you.
Yep.
Because that's the thing. Even people that live paycheck to pay. I mean, I'm going to talk like blanketly here, and I'm terribly sorry if this doesn't apply to whoever happens to be listening to this, and like I understand where we're dealing with things on various levels.
Mm-hmm.
In general, people that are still working, like paycheck to paycheck,
mm-hmm.
people still like are spending everything that comes in, are still living to a reasonable standard. You know, in most places in the West, you know, it's like we go, especially where I am. I'll say where I am, so people can't come at me. But when things get slightly more expensive, so yeah, I go out less. I don't get as many takeaways as I used to, or I won't buy video games, that sort of thing. It will nibble away at luxuries first. Yeah, it's not. I don't think all of a sudden we're going to be taking wheelbarrows of money to go and buy a loaf of bread, for instance.
That could very well be what happens. In all seriousness, it's a very small percentage. Could I see a 30% inflation rate? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Like realized? Yeah. I mean, depending on the goods you buy now, it may already be. I mean, if you've been to the grocery store, you know how much more things cost.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Inflation is a tax on your real value of your wealth, on your real wealth. Yeah. And there's nothing you can do about it. You know, if you had extra money that didn't have to go somewhere, I would buy. I'll tell you what I mean, what I have done. I bought silver, I bought gold, you know, because if I need it, I have it and it's real. And if I have to use it to barter to get out of the country or on a black market or to pay off someone, I can do it and it's untraceable. Not only that, you know, one day when I die, I have it set aside and the IRS can blow me. They're not going to find it and my kids will have it with no taxes on it, just to them. And they'll always have that emergency get out, you know, that dad put away 50 years ago, you know. So that's why it's there, and it will only continue to gain in value. And those things have traditionally throughout history had value. So that's something, you know. There's a thing called a gold back. You pay a premium on it, but it's a very interesting device, and certain states have stamped it with a currency exchange, which I think is really cool. And it's a United States thing, but what it is, it's gold foil encapsulated in like an epoxy resin, so it looks like and they have dollars, so it's like 1,000th of a gram, you know, or something like that.
Yeah, I think I've seen these before.
Yeah. So when they first came out, I was like, that's cool, and I bought some, and they came out with the second generation. I bought more. Because the problem with gold's always been, you know, 1 ounce of gold is a tremendous amount of money.
Yeah.
You know, what do you can't
how
get
do
change.
You divide that up? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's always been like they make, you know, they've made cards for a while that you could break off, and there's different denominations amounts, but even then it varies. So how could you do it? And this gold back thing is an incredible way that they've done it. I have no stake in it, right? I own them myself. I thought that was good because it breaks something that actually holds value in a smaller denomination, but it psychologically looks like money. So people understand it, you know, like a tube of silver eagles or maple leaves, or, you know, a fucking tube of Krugerrands or something. People have a hard time understanding that, but, you know, hopefully, you know, whatever government official I'm having to bribe with it to get my family somewhere safe will understand it. But yeah, man, there's a normal guy. Don't let it bother you. If you're married, don't let it affect your marriage. If you got kids, don't let it affect you being a dad. Just do what you can do, man. Look for side hustles. If you got a trade, a real trade, use it on the side. Start taking cash, man. Work outside of the system. Damn the man. Work outside of the system.
Yeah. Super chat your creators. That's what you're trying to say.
Sure.
I
I get none of that either. I'm fine. Old Dave over here. I'm just fine.
So I think we've come to the conclusion that although Bluebeam possible, all of this stuff is probably just a distraction from the fact that we're heading towards some sort of social collapse.
This
That
stuff
seems
is
like a good way.
Bluebeam. We're living in Bluebeam.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're living in the massive distraction.
We said it before on this podcast too many times, the curse of living in interesting times, and that's. I mean, I don't know when it's going to stop being interesting, but it seems to have no thoughts of slowing down.
I do have one thought before we go. Sorry, it just popped in there for the gentleman who'd asked, "What can I do?"
This is where the thoughts are for.
Listen, there it is. The most important thing you can do is find people you know and trust and live around them. Not in the city. I mean, in the neighborhood. Live around them. Develop those relationships. If you can, I mean, hell, that's a lot of fun. Getting naked with a bunch of strangers out in the woods isn't as much fun as if you know them. That's it.
But yeah, no, I agree. I think you're right. It's one of the things I find upsetting about where I live. I think it could be. It's so fragmented, and it's by design. I think a lot of this social fragmentation we have is 100% by design, and you could see it's even started in the family, it's been building in the family. Now I think the more I see the patterns is there's less incentive for families to stay together, which I think is a real shame.
Yeah.
And it's I fell out with someone the other day just because I didn't share an opinion with them like 100%, maybe 80%, and I think I spoke about it on the podcast, didn't I, with you?
Yeah.
And you like, what a strange world. I never thought I'd know people that I speak to for 15 years that you would stop speaking to just because it's not even like not seeing eye to eye. It was like we were seeing like eye to bridge of nose. Yeah, it's as close as you can get to agreeing on something without totally agreeing on it, and that wasn't good enough for them. And it's at that point I take a step back and I go, "Fuck, what's happened to people?" And on that cheery note, thank you for watching Must See Audio. I, as always, have been your humble host, Lee. Thank you, Dave, BlackStar Paranormal. Get yourself some merch. Links are in the description. Do all the other stuff. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.